Kind Father, before we ask you for anything or petition you for anything, we pause at this moment and we thank you for everything. We thank you for being our all in all. We thank you for sustaining us throughout this day. God, we thank you for keeping us and allowing us to come into this space. Now, Father, we ask that you would be with us in this setting and in this meeting. God, we ask that you would allow us to do everything that would be pleasing unto your sight. God, as we please you, allow us to be edified through that which we need in order to sustain ourselves. Lord, continue to make us instruments of your peace. Bless us in this place. Bless this council, and bless all those who have gathered here for this meeting. We thank you now for all things. This we ask in the strong name of him who loves and keeps us all, Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, council. I trust everyone has gone through their agendas for tonight and looked over the informational material and the material that our departments have submitted. Let you know what's going on in each department, or in most departments. Item 5, open forum. Prior to open forum tonight, I have a presentation to make. If Mr. Weichel will stand up here, please, sir. This thing's so big, I about had to get somebody else up here. There, yeah, that's the biggest one I've ever seen. I don't mean to embarrass you. Okay, this is something the council wanted to give you to show appreciation for the job you've done as interim manager and chief financial officer, which all of us are very appreciative because you've done a bang-up job. So I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to let you hold it because my arm's going to get tired. The 2025 Valdese Town Council expresses its appreciation to Bo Daniel Weichel for his outstanding service as interim town manager August 23rd, 2024 through May 1st, 2025. During this special assignment, he made significant contributions, enabling the Valdese Town Council to make policy decisions in the town's best interests. He exceeded the council's expectations for his extra assignment through extraordinary initiative, hours, and effort while fulfilling his regular responsibilities as assistant manager and chief financial officer. May 25th, 2025, with appreciation by Mayor Charles Watts and council members Glenn Harvey, Rexanna Loman, Gary Ogle, Heather Ward, and Melinda Zimmerman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it needs a chair of its own, you know? Thank you, Bo. Okay, council, item 5, open forum. I'll ask Mayor Pro Tem Ogle to read our guidelines for speaking to council, please.
Open forum and public comments. The council shall provide at least one period for public comment per month during a regular meeting unless no regular meeting is held that month. Any individual or group who wishes to address the council shall inform the clerk anytime prior to the start of the meeting and provide their name, address, and subject matter at which they wish to speak. Persons must be present if they wish to address the council. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Open forum is not intended to require council or staff to answer impromptu questions. Speakers will address all comments to the entire council as a whole and not to one individual members. Discussion between the speakers and members of the audience will not be permitted. Speakers will maintain decorum at all times. Speakers are expected to be courteous and respectful at all times, regardless of who occupies the council chairs. These guidelines will help to ensure that a safe and a productive meeting is held, and that all those wishing to address the council will be afforded the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mayor
sir.
Watts.
Okay, first on the list, Dr. Johnson, sir.
Yes. So I am here in
If-
my
if-
capacity,
If you would, name and address,
Oh,
please.
Jonas Johnson, 309 Bouchard Avenue, Valdese. And I'm here in my capacity as Scoutmaster of Troop 192, and had three things from the troop to bring before the council today. So the first one is the July 4th celebration downtown on that Friday. The troop we have boxes around town where we collect flags that need to be retired, and we also put up flags throughout the town for holidays. And one of the things that we would like to do at the 4th of July parade, or not parade, but the celebration, is to do a flag retirement ceremony. And I don't know particularly where that would be, but that's something that we were talking with the troop, and that we thought would be a really nice thing to do. So that was one of the things that we had that we wanted to discuss with the council, whether or not that is something that the troop would be able to do. So I know you can't answer, I just heard that, but maybe
We'll be in touch.
Okay, that sounds perfect. And then the second two items have to do with the flags downtown. So I brought one of our flags here, and the flags that we currently put downtown are getting old and worn. So this one, I chose one that was of average quality, and it is getting faded, and it's starting to develop rips, and we're getting to a point where we need to replace those flags. Now, the flags that we put downtown are property of the town and the scout troop. We store them in the scout hut, and then we put them out before days like Flag Day coming up next week, or the 4th of July. So we're in need of new flags. They are 2.5 feet by 4 feet is the size that we would need. And I took a look on Amazon today, and it looks like the prices range between $10 to $30, depending on quality of the flags. And and I went to Scout Hut and I counted the ones that we would need for the current flags, and it looks like we'll need 30 flags to replace those. The third item is for the holes for the flag poles. There have been some repairs on the street in downtown, and I don't know if you noticed the last time we put them out. I was out with the boys, and there are sections where there's been a lot of work done on the sidewalks, and so the holes to put the flags in there are now gone. And we're hoping that we could get those fixed or replaced, or so we could get so we could put a full run of flags without gaps in them. It just looks nicer. And the one thing I would note with that is the 30 flags that I mentioned earlier were for the ones that are currently existing, so that would not include any new ones that needed to be added. So in terms of those holes, it would be nice if we could have it, if we could get those holes put in place earlier. But if not, that has been flagged as a potential Eagle project. Our closest Eagle who could do that would probably be 3 to 4 years away. So we're looking at a little bit of a lag there. But that is a possibility if that's not in the town's budget right now. But of course, we would certainly like to have it done sooner. So, And those are the three items that I had.
Okay, I'll be in touch.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
could we just ask for clarification? So, if I was following the numbers, you would need about $1,000 to replace all the flags immediately. Did I hear that correctly?
At the high end, if you went with the $30 flag,
Okay.
it would be about $600 if you went with the $20 flag. And I looked, and I think that this was the one that we have now is the $20 flag. So,
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next is Mr. Boykin.
Hey there, I'm Brandon Boykin, 91 Eldred Street, Southeast, here in Valdese. Myself and Wesley are the current owners of Myers, managers, and my wife, she's present here today. We wanted to have a short discussion about the ordinances for the food trucks. As it's stated now, they're allowed up here for special events, but our issue is not the special events, it's when they're serving the public as they're serving that special event. Because as we all know, there's a small pot of residents down here in Valdese, and it's really intrusive to us that have the brick and mortar establishments that are paying our taxes and our rents, such. So maybe just a consideration of an amendment to that. We're not we're not against food trucks by any means, and we understand during the festivals and stuff like that, it's necessary. There's no way we can serve that many people that quickly, and we're not dull to that. We understand that. It's the Tuesdays in the middle of May, that kind of stuff, in April, that's what really hurts. Our weekday traffic, and then we have these people coming in. I know Mr. Harvey was involved with that email chain where we had talked about this, and we don't have a lot during the week to choose from. We really don't want to take out of that pot unless it's a brick or mortar establishment. So that's about it. Just have the council consider maybe amending that, tightening it up just a little bit, so there's far less competition for us down here in Main Street Valdez.
Okay.
That's about it.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Yes, sir. Mr. Blivens.
Hello, everybody. My name is Russ Blevins. I own Rusty Antiques here in town. I'm not a resident, but my address is 131 Bobo Avenue on the back street. One of the things that I wanted to address is that I tried to do everything I possibly can to advertise in my store. I advertise online, and I advertise with the radio station, and I also advertise trying to put signs out there on the main road. But one of my questions is I would love to put some flashing lights out in front of my business to bring people in, but I was told that it's against the town rules. I don't know what the town rules is. I mean, I try to abide by the law and everything, but I would love to know what I can and cannot do for advertisement to get people off the main drag and back there into my parking lot. My next statement is that when you have the tents set up in town and you block traffic, that kills my business. I don't get no business back there. The people that come to the festivals with the tents, they come up there mainly for the free stuff and buy a few little things, but none of them comes back to where I'm at. I get a lot of my traffic from trying to pull cars from the main drag back into the lot. If it's blocked off, I normally just shut down and go home, because the majority of my business comes from the road, and a lot of times when y'all do something on the main road, I don't get no business. That's a few things I just wanted to say. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Walker, ma'am.
Good evening, council members and mayor. I'm Sandy Walker, 124 Main Street West in downtown Valdese. And seems like all these concerns that's been brought up, I think we have a committee that's might be able to help out with that. And they've given me some ideas and some things that we want to look at as well. My reason for coming today, though, is to say thank you for your support. Our council was a wonderful, wonderful presence, and a couple that had been out of town let me know about that, and I just appreciate your support, whether you were present or not. You guys are what you make it what we do. And we had a wonderful time. We had to cancel the last night because of the weather. I told, Eddie said, Sandy, my equipment won't do well in the rain. And I said, well, Eddie, I'm willing to risk it, but not your equipment. So we went ahead and canceled. And we were very disappointed because we had plans for a really big send-off. But I have an alternative, as always. You know me, when something goes wrong one way, you always have a plan B. And I have worked it out with Mr. Jackman to use Jackman Plaza the 4 Saturdays for the 4th Saturday of June, July, August, and September. Those dates are June 28th, July 26th, August 23rd, and September 27th. We'll be having bingo again in Jackman Plaza, 6 to 8, and then afterwards we will be doing a Christian movie for anyone that would like to stay and have some fellowship. And with the Merchants Advisory Committee, this really, I'm not sure because we haven't met this month, and so I have to do a presentation for the committee to see if they want to support it. But I have so many requests from the merchants themselves for us to do this. And several of the merchants said, I'll be there and help you. You just tell me what you want me to do, we'll do it. And so I had 30 merchants involved in this, and over half of those have already told me we want to keep doing something and have something going on in Valdese like the bingo. And they loved it, people coming into their shops and getting the cards and shopping around and using the gift certificates that they had given out. And of course, they always spend more money when they do that, and that was a win-win for everybody. And I'm just really pleased with how it all turned out. And about the flags, we've got 30 merchants that participated. I guess he left, sorry. Let me, before the town council does anything, let me approach these merchants and see if they would want to each purchase a flag, because we've got 30 that were involved. Isn't that providential? 30 involved and 30 flags that he needs. And let us see if we can take care of the flags for you, if you guys will take care of the holes and everything on the sidewalk. And I think that would be a wonderful partnership. And I think that's why you established our committee, is that partnership to bring the merchants in and to involve everybody in the community. And I just thank you for the insight of our council members that had it in their heart to do that. And it's really in my heart to see Valdese flourish and succeed. And that's always been my prayer for Valdese. Lord, keep your hand over us till we can get back to our first love and honor you in the way that we're supposed to honor you. And I see that working. And I thank you, all of you, for being part of it. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay, council. Next on the agenda, item 6 is the consent agenda. Are there any items there that council would like removed? Okay, hearing none, I'll take a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Okay, item 7, new business. Presentation of the 2020.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add 2 items, if I may.
Okay,
Let's add the item, I think I'd like mobile food units instead of food, better than food trucks, but let's add that one. And then the second one is a holdover from the May meeting, which really, I think, should have been on the agenda, the Valdese Bluff Sewer Line bid results and ARPA fund allocation of $800,000. To add those to the agenda, do they need to be moved and seconded?
Yes.
I would then move each of those items, please.
Okay, council, you have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Okay, we'll go with the first item of food trucks, Mr. Harvey.
I am just suggesting that we have it on the agenda, that the council consider it. I have not been able, the one speaker referenced ordinance and wondered if we could amend the ordinance. I haven't been able to find an ordinance. And the best I could find, and I've sought some help but haven't got any help, is that in August 2021, the council had I thought, a very well-constructed ordinance for, I think it was called for food trucks, but it was postponed for 6 months, and that was it. I can't find anything after this. I'm not sure we have an ordinance, and that's that's a pretty important issue. I'm not opposed to food trucks, but I think that we need to have an ordinance with some controls and regulations on it. So that's my opinion. What we do with it, up to the rest of the council.
Anybody else?
We as a council, now who would come up with the ordinance? Is that something the manager would present to us, or we as a council?
Probably the planning board and the attorney.
I think that's something that we need to address as well, quickly.
Okay, anyone else?
Well, so would we ask our town manager to start on that, to do some research and get back to us and work with our attorney and the planning board in getting some more information about food trucks?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Would you make that a motion, please?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we ask the town manager to do some research, to work with our attorney and our planning board, and to come up with some information about mobile food trucks for Valdese.
Okay, second,
I second it.
okay, further discussion?
Got the town manager one.
Can I ask for clarification?
Yes, sir.
Do you want just information, or would you like to have a draft ordinance as well?
Yeah, let's include a draft ordinance in the information, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, any questions on the motion? If not, those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Okay, Mr. Harvey, Valdese Bluffs.
Yeah, again, I don't own this item, but I guess I discovered that we needed it. I propose the following motion, that by the council's action on item 7B on May 5, 2025, the town manager is hereby authorized to proceed with contracting for work to be done to the extent of the amount covered by the ARPA grant, subject to final approval of the granting agency.
Okay. Would you read that again, please, sir?
Yes, by the council's action on item 7B on May 5, the town manager is hereby authorized to proceed with contracting for the work to be done to the extent of the amount covered by the ARPA grant, subject to final approval of the granting agency. Which basically is what we said on May 5, what we unanimously said on May 5 we would do at this meeting.
Okay. Do I have a second, council?
Second.
And a further comment on that is that I think maybe the reason it was not on the agenda, even though the council directed it to be on the agenda, to be on this agenda, is that we're still waiting for final clearance from the agency that's issuing the grant to make sure that they accept what we want to do. So, but what this motion would do is, once we get that clearance, which I think we heard at the preliminary meeting was imminent, or we thought it was, once we get that clearance, the staff can go ahead with it. We don't have to drag it out any longer.
Okay.
And then I want to, clarify that those are the ARPA funds that have to be spent by the end of this year, correct? Next year, okay.
And those funds are grant funds, is that correct? 900 and some $1,000.
Yeah, they're the grant fund, so, but it is reimbursable, though, so we'll have to spend the money first and then get the funds reimbursed.
Okay.
So that's why we don't want to proceed with the project until we get their blessing. That's how they want to proceed. Because in their eyes, doing half the project is not what they intended, but they realize the time constraint and that we're under, so. Sorry. Okay.
So you think that will get approved?
I-
Doing half the project?
Yeah, I have a good
Okay.
feeling it will get approved, so.
When will be the best time to start this project? What? I mean, you've got 2026 to finish the funds.
Yeah, so they'll have to, I mean, there'll be a lot of design work initially, so they probably wouldn't start construction until late fall.
This 2025, late
Right,
fall?
right.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else?
It requires no matching funds, right?
Correct,
So it's not gonna cost the town anything.
correct.
It'll be a sewer line halfway to somewhere.
Yep.
Any more questions? Okay, you've heard the motion and the second. Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Okay. 7A, presentation of 2024 North Carolina Department of Labor Safety Award, sir.
All right, so this is something that we do annually. We recognize the departments that have got this award. So I've got the awards in my hand. We're not going to call each department up, but I'll just kind of read them off here. The reason why this is important and why it's on the agenda is when we get these awards, the workers' comp insurance that we use through the league, they look at this as one of the factors when they're giving us our rating for our workers' comp insurance. So the more awards we get on this category and the more consecutive years, the better our rating is. So there's two different levels of awards. There's a silver award, and then there's a gold award. And I won't go into details of each, but obviously the gold award's a little better. But for the silver award, we've got Public Works, who is in their third consecutive year with that award. And then gold award, we have the police department, which is in their first year, so they elevated themselves to gold award. Same for the fire department in the first year. Wastewater department is in their second year of the gold award. Recreation department's third year. Water department 8th year. Community affairs, their 14th year. And then the administration department, which includes the admin, HR, finance, planning, all that, is in our 38th consecutive year for that. So what that basically means is workers' comp claims are very low for those departments. So we'll give out the awards to each department after this meeting this week.
One thing I might add to that, those awards aren't easy to obtain. Usually if you have one accident during a 12-month period, it knocks you out of that award process. So it's not like it's easy to get.
Yeah.
When you consider the type of work that Public Works and Fire and Police do, and the others, you know, it says a lot for our department heads and our employees that they perform their duties safely. And I'm appreciative of that. Thank you.
I think a round of applause for all
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, Item C, approval of resolution for Massell Avenue Southeast Sidewalk Project.
What about B?
I didn't want to do B.
You got the guy up there.
Maybe the most important one of the night.
It threw me off adding those other two things in. Let's do B.
All right.
Fiscal year 25-26 proposed budget and scheduling of public hearing for Monday, June 23rd, 2025. Sir?
All right, so in your packet is a, about 6 to 7 months worth of work here. Through our budget workshops, we all went through this and we fine-tuned as we went, so appreciate everybody working together on this. So what I'll do is just run through some highlights of this budget and then answer any questions you might have. But basically, we've got two funds, the general fund and the water and sewer fund, that make up the budget. So the general fund's budget is $7.98 million. That includes capital and operating expenditures. Same for the utility fund. Its budget is $9.66 million for a total budget of $17.6 million for capital and operating expenses for our town. So under the general fund, the property tax rate is at 41.5 cents, so that doesn't change. One of the big changes in the general fund is our sanitation recycling. So when we talked about that, we're going away from Republic Services. And so citizens will see a company called Simply Green taking that service over. That's going to happen on July 1. So that is built in our budget and actually a little bit of a savings the way we're doing that. So that's one item that was in the budget. Long-term debt, it only accounts for 2.87% of our budget, our operating budget. And then jumping down to streets, we did make sure that we have a contribution going to our paving fund because we haven't lost sight of that. Once those projects start happening, what we're doing is just saving money so we can pay cash as much as we can for those projects. Water and sewer fund, I'll jump down to that. If you recall from our budget workshops, we have several big capital projects happening in there. We got some water line on Kerrville, and we got some sewer lines on Rotorite that we're doing. So some big ticket items, but they desperately need done. So that's what's included in the budget for some of these. We're also hitting Jefferson Avenue with a sewer replacement as well. So those are, let's see. And I'm also missing the electrical substation at the water plant, which serves all our customers, both inside and outside. So those are some of the larger capital items in our utility fund. The operating side for the utility didn't change a whole lot. So, but that is the proposed budget as it is today. There's an agenda and fee schedule that shows all the agenda and fees that we talked about in the prior workshop. So.
Okay, council questions? Okay, hearing none.
I'm waiting for everybody else, but you have the, in the next version of this, which we'll have a budget hearing on June 23rd, is that correct?
Correct.
The budget that's presented at that time, will it have the year-to-date actual as of May 31 then? Presently, what we're looking at tonight is as of April 30.
Right. Didn't plan on doing that, but we can make that adjustment if that's what council wants. I can reflect that. So usually, once we propose this budget, it's the one that is proposed for adoption. So, that's just a small change in the column. So, I mean, that won't adjust the budget at all.
We want to affect the budget, that's
Yeah.
right. And then I do have a couple questions since nobody else does. We talked about 2 or 3 things that I thought, my understanding was we were going to, the staff, the manager and the finance director, finance chief financial officer, we're going to look into it further. Let's see, one of them was, oh yeah, the rental rates at the Old Rock School, particularly the Waldensian room. we have the same fee for profit and nonprofits for that. And I thought the consensus of the council was that we would give nonprofits a better rate. But that, I don't think that's changed.
So I think I know what you're speaking of when we talked about the Waldensian room rental. So I did update that to show profit and nonprofit for those, like we talked about. So,
Okay, so you did change that?
yeah,
All right, and the thing that threw me off a little bit was the bottom line, the fund balance appropriated is $29.90, which is the same one we saw on May 12th. So I thought there might be a little bit of change there if we made some of those adjustments. But, okay, you addressed that one. Now, there was also some council member support for a modest residential rate increase to help share costs more equitably. We kept the water and sewer rates for residents unchanged last year. And I thought the sense of the council was that could be bumped up a wee bit for residents this year, so there might not be quite as stark a difference between residents and non-residents, which we heard a lot about last year, as we all did, I think. So that's one, and then one other question was, there's a statement that the council, I'm reading from the minutes of the May 12 meeting, that the council agreed to communicate with major industrial customers before finalizing the budget and to bring back any feedback for further discussion. I think what the intent was that the council agreed that the manager or the CFO would communicate with major industrial customers and bring back any feedback for further discussion. But we haven't had any feedback that I'm aware of.
sure.
So did that happen? Have we talked with these industrial customers, either
Yeah.
you or Mr. Herbst?
Let me address the first one, the residential inside rate. So when that was brought up, that draft that you had, it did have a $38.50 minimum fee for residential. So this proposed, we talked about raising it a little bit, so that has a $40 now, so it went up about 4 to 5%. So that was reflected in here, so
So
we're
you've
good
done
on
that?
Yes, we've done that.
Okay. But that didn't change the bottom line either.
It did a little bit on the utility fund we're talking about. It didn't change the
Okay.
bottom line
All right.
because we got those projects, it changed how much we're borrowing.
Okay, so you responded to that one, that's
Yeah.
good, thank you.
Okay, and as far as communication with the industrial and commercial customers, so the manager did write a letter reaching out to them to notify them of the proposed changes. We heard from one in response to that letter, and that's all the feedback we've gotten. So, I don't know if he wants to add anything else.
I'm sitting here thinking, I can't remember if it's top 15 or top 20.
It was a top 20, I think
Okay,
he
so
said.
the top 20 water customers, top 20 sewer customers got a letter, basically introduced myself, gave them my contact information, and gave them the new rates. I did not hear from anyone. Bo received an email that he forwarded me from one out of the top 20 for each funds.
Okay. Anything else, council?
And I will add to that too, that our water and industrial user increases, they account for 160,000 of the budget. So it's, of that number I read off earlier, 9 point whatever million. So 160 of that is the increase that was proposed in this budget for them.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, if not, then I will go ahead and schedule the public hearing for Monday, June 23rd, 2025 at 6 PM here in the council chambers for the proposed budget process review. Okay? Good. Okay, item C, approval of Massell Avenue sidewalk project. Now we can get to this one.
All right, so This is a resolution of commitment for the sidewalk that we applied for through the, it's called LAP funding, Locally Administrative Project Program funding, and working with the COG on this. So we had applied for 2 different sidewalk projects in town. The one that looks attractive to them is the Massell Avenue Southeast, which would go up over here from Rotary up to Carolina. So what this does is it's being recommended for award. So we've made it past the first phase. Now we're being recommended for award. But in order for that process to happen, we have to pass a resolution of commitment saying, yes, we want to do this project, and when it comes time, we're going to commit the 20% match to do that. So engineer estimate is $950,000 for this project, which would require about $190,000 of that coming from town funds. The rest would come from the LAP funding.
Okay.
So these monies wouldn't be spent this upcoming budget year because it would take some time to get this process going, get some engineering work done. So it would probably be maybe next budget year and maybe the one after that where it would be. But we would set up a capital project for this.
Okay. Questions, council?
Yeah, if I understand it right, we won't have to pay the 190 up front. It'll be spread out over years, is that correct?
Most likely, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
But what we will do though is set up a capital project for this, so we will reserve the funds for it, but we won't actually be sending them out to anybody yet. So.
So you're looking at probably over a 2-year period for this 190.
Most likely, yeah.
Okay.
And Bo, I'm sorry, I have a question.
Go ahead.
The sidewalk is on the south side, so the railroad side for descriptor.
Correct.
Up that street, there's like 5 power poles. Was it taken into consideration, I mean, will the sidewalk, will those poles have to be moved for the sidewalk, or is that street wide enough? I just wondered if that cost was embedded in these figures.
Good question. So that road, that street is about 35 feet wide. So I think the intent is not to mess with the power poles. We can go next to them, and what we'd do for safety wise, we'd put a curb and gutter in and come into that asphalt a little bit and then put our concrete sidewalk up through there. If we were to go to the north side of it, which would be the side we're on right now, then you've got a residential retaining wall we'd have to deal with. And once you get across Italy Street, there's that hill there. We'd actually build another retaining wall, which can get very expensive. So the idea is to go across the street, not mess with those power poles, and then put the sidewalk in through there. So there's plenty of width on that street to do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay, council, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution for the Massell Avenue sidewalk project.
So we're just approving, yeah, so moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you, council. Okay, item D, approval of capital project ordinance amendment pool structure.
This should be an easy one. We've been talking about this AP grant for a while, so it's finally coming to a conclusion here. As you know, we got the scope of work changed for this so that they would cover the pool dome structure. So we didn't know at the time when we set the project ordinance that they were gonna be able to do that. So we had planned worst case scenario, pulling those funds out of our fund balance to cover the whole project. Since then, they've changed that scope for us. So what this is doing is basically adjusting that project budget so that no funds, the $500,000 grant is gonna be receivable, and we won't be pulling the 500 out of our fund balance for that. So the total project was 700 some thousand, so that's gonna help with our fund balance in the upcoming year. So that's what this project is, just an accounting exercise to fix that.
I move that we approve that amendment.
Okay, council, do I have a second?
Second.
I
Okay.
have a question.
Yeah.
So
May I,
the,
excuse me, are we into discussion now? If you don't mind,
okay, go
I'd
ahead.
just like to, I think, I check Robert's rules once in a while. I think mover gets to speak first. I just want to point out, one of the reasons that Mr. Weichel got that big fancy plaque tonight is that this $500 that is it's actually moving back into reserves, is almost $2.5 million that we've processed in grant income tonight. The ARPA funds, if they release that for that project, that's $800,000, and then we just heard about the sidewalk, which is over $900,000. Those two were the type of grants that you could change. I'm sorry, they cannot change. The ARPA grant, can't do anything about that. Either use that one or lose it. But the sidewalk grant, we turned those funds back in to the Greater Hickory Metropolitan Organization, and then they had another funding application, and we ended up getting this sidewalk. The pool cover grant is $500,000 that we had submitted initially without knowing what it was going to cost. It was written around something that ended up going to cost almost $2 million. And that was the heroic effort that our chief financial officer did, was getting that grant rewritten and amended so that we could get that $500,000. So that was a big deal. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that again, because it may not work the next time, but it worked this time. I'm sorry.
That's fine. And I also thank you, Bo, that we were able to keep that grant. My question is, the private donor that gave $100,000 toward this, is that money staying toward this grant?
Good question. They have informed me that they have elected to use it for a different project, a future project, unknown project at this point.
Okay,
So it is going to stay with the town, but they want to go toward a different project. So it's going to actually stay in this capital project fund parked until they tell me where they want to move it to.
okay, so it will not be used toward the pool?
Correct.
Okay, just clarifying.
Anyone else? Okay, I have a motion and a second. Those in favor of approving the capital project ordinance for the pool structure signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item E, approval of design build contractor for public safety buildings.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to address this, if I may. I'd like to make a motion that we contract with DR Reynolds to build our public safety facility or remodel the 215 Main Street that we're looking at as well. And these folks can go ahead and do this if we approve this tonight, but I'd like to make the motion that we go into contract with DR Reynolds.
Okay, council, need a second, please.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Could we have clarification on what it is that we're contracting for?
One of y'all describe phase one, please.
As I understand the motion, it would be to carry out what was listed in the RFQ, bring back options to the board under those guidelines for you to make a final decision.
Now, there's three things in an
Yes.
RFQ. One is the fire department total. One is the police and fire department combined. And one is to remodel the 215 Main. Those are the three things that we're looking at. Those are the three things I would like to see contracted with DR Reynolds.
Yes, and the attorney can clarify me, but I think that's the only thing we can do, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, the contract is to do phase one of that RFQ. Right?
Yes,
And that includes reviewing those three options.
yes, sir.
any other questions? Hearing none, those in favor of the approval of DR Reynolds for the public safety building phase one project signify by saying yes and raise your right hand.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you, council. That's a big step. Glad to see that done. Okay, item F, prudent use of town rolling stock assets. Mr. Harvey.
Yes, I just have a request of our town manager. He's done some preliminary work checking on what other towns do. We have a policy, we have a personnel policy paragraph that deals with use of town vehicles. And there's nothing wrong with the policy except the way it has been administered in the past. So my request to Mr. Herms is just that he, in addition to gathering up, what other small towns around here are doing, I'd like to have him look at Morganton, Hickory, Lenore, some of the bigger cities, and maybe, if necessary, suggest any revisions to the personnel policy that may be required. One of the things I'm concerned about is the way we're complying with the Internal Revenue Service requirements. So I guess part of my general request would be that when you gather the information, that you review it with both our town attorney and our auditors, because our auditors in our last session with them indicated they were going to take another look at this. So let's, I just think we need to get a good look at it. I think we're sitting in a situation now where we don't have as extensive abuse of it as we've had in the past. But this is probably, and with new manager, this is a good time to take a new look at it. And that's all I'm requesting.
Yes, and after reviewing it, I do think we're probably in the need of a take-home vehicle policy. Most cities have one. While we do cover it in our personnel policy, it could be a little bit tighter. So if it pleases the council, we will work on it at a staff level and bring something back for review at a later
See
date.
Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else? Questions? Okay, moving on to item G. Consideration of resolution on civility and protocol for the 2025 municipal election. Mr. Harvey.
Yes, this is, it will be a bit lengthy. The proposed motion is desiring to formalize their commitment to engage in a campaign that encourages public confidence. The Valdese Town Council hereby adopts by signature the following resolution. And I guess I have to read that resolution. This is the resolution of the town of Valdese regarding the 2025 election. Whereas Article 3, Division 1 of the Charter and other related laws of the town of Valdese governs the election process for the mayor and members of council, and whereas the mayor and members of council are also governed by a code of ethics adopted October 4, 2010, which provides in part that the stability and proper operation of democratic representative government depend upon public confidence in the integrity of the government and upon responsible exercise of the trust conferred by the people upon their elected officials. And whereas the mayor and members of council, fully appreciating their duties and obligations to the town of Valdese as elected officials and desiring to formalize their commitment to engage in a campaign that encourages public confidence, desire to adopt this resolution in connection with the 2025 election. Now therefore, be it resolved by the town council that as elected officials, the mayor and members of council commit to participate and engage in the 2025 election in a manner that instills public confidence in the integrity of the government and the responsible exercise of the trust conferred by the people upon their elected officials, and in doing so will strictly adhere to the principles established in the Code of Conduct, Code of Ethics, and expect the town manager to enforce the adopted personnel policy. This resolution is not intended to and shall not infringe upon the First Amendment rights of the mayor and or members of the council or the employees of their ability to campaign for, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have put employees there. This resolution is not intended to and shall not infringe upon the First Amendment rights of the mayor and or members of council or their ability to campaign for themselves and others when not carrying out their official duties.
Okay, so your motion is to adopt that,
Yes.
okay?
I have an extra copy of it here.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Just briefly, I think the council has agreed that we don't want a repeat of the 2023 election. And we'd like this one to go a little more smoothly and reflect better on the town than the 2023 election did.
Anyone else?
I'd like to make
Ma'am?
some comments. Respectfully, I don't see the need for this resolution. Upon taking office, each of us are bound by a code of ethics. We all took our required ethics training. As a child, my parents, my church instilled in me what right and wrong is, and I live my life trying to walk a life of civility and respect for others. If I'm a candidate, I would also be bound by Board of Election rules that I know what I have to do. So I just don't see that this is needed, and I'm not in favor of it, and I would not sign it.
Anyone else?
My question, first of all, Mr. Swanson, the resolution that talks about my First Amendment rights, if I was a candidate, could I put a sign, a political sign, for another candidate in my yard?
Yes.
Okay, I was harassed over that last election, so I just wanted to be clear, I can put a sign for another political candidate in my yard.
Yes.
Can I give money to another political candidate as a First Amendment right?
Yes.
Okay? Then I would like to make a statement. If I'm a candidate for office in the Valdese town elections, I hereby affirm my commitment to adhering to the town code of ethics and all laws related to the election process. I recognize the importance of conducting a campaign that not only meets legal standards, but also upholds the highest moral principles. If I am a candidate, I will strive to conduct myself in a manner that instills public confidence in the integrity of my campaign. My aim is to engage with the community transparently and honestly, fostering trust and respect among all constituents. Additionally, if I'm a candidate, I will uphold the foundations of my Christian faith, allowing my values to guide my actions and decisions. I believe that public service is a sacred trust, and I'm dedicated to serving the citizens of Valdese with integrity, compassion, and sincerity. Since I'm already expected to follow the Town Council Code of Ethics and laws related to the election, I do not see any reason to have a document that asks me to follow ethics that I have already pledged to uphold. I see no reason also for this resolution.
Anyone else? I don't think
Well, you know, the resistance is a bit puzzling to me because this has been out there for a week or so. We've all had an opportunity to react to it, talk about it. It was actually drafted by Attorney Swanson. So I think, you know, what we heard was at both ends of the council was just fine. I think this is just putting it down in writing as I thought we had agreed that we were going to do. You know, I think everyone up here complies with the code of ethics. But you know, let's just commit to it. That's my only comment.
I didn't prepare a speech or anything, but I assure you there will be no signs in my yard. There will be no donations given to another candidate because I know whoever steps into this position next time, it can create a little bit of a rift. If others choose to, it's America, you do your thing, that's why I love our country. God bless America. But I personally, whether we sign this or not, I will refuse to put anyone's, anything on my Facebook, Instagram, Snap, anything, because I just don't feel like it's an appropriate look. I would personally sign this just to affirm to the citizens of Valdese that I will remain civil, because I know it is important to some, but I choose to stay out of that side. I will, presidential candidates will stick in my yard, but not town, not gonna do it.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to sign anything, just to be honest with you.
But,
I too would agree to what you're saying here. And I also will adhere to what is in this resolution and also in our town policy. So I don't know that we need to sign anything to do that.
well, again, this has been out here for, we talked about it last week. It's been out here for a week or so. We're all honorable people. Why would we not want to sign this? We don't know who's going to run for council.
Well, I think that's
And I
a
think
statement.
if we remember 2 years ago, it was pretty nasty. I mean, I had an attorney, 2 attorneys suggest that I bring libel suit against somebody, and I didn't do it because I didn't want to bring that into the town. And that has nothing to do with the council, but I think the tone and the content we had here, the intent was to set a climate, set an atmosphere for the citizens to, just set a good attitude, set a good atmosphere, have everybody agree that we're all going to go into this positively and that we're going to have a positive campaign this year. That's all.
But I think by our statements, we have said that, and this is being recorded, and so they have it on video that we have said that we will uphold this, and we have made statements saying that.
Okay. I have to agree that we're all honorable people up here, and again,
Excuse me, are we debating a,
no, I'm making a statement.
I'm sorry, are we debating a motion?
No, I'm making a statement.
No, I think you're welcome, and we welcome you to join the debate, but I think you really need to turn the chair over to the Mayor Pro Tem to join the
Would you
debate.
mind taking over for just a minute?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Harvey. You have anything else?
Pardon?
Anything else you want to say regarding this?
No, right now, I want to hear from the mayor if he wants to speak to
Okay.
it.
Mr. Mayor, go
Thank
ahead
you.
and speak if you will, please.
As I was saying, we are all honorable people up here, and we all have agreed and sworn to abide by our code of ethics. I also do not see a need for the resolution. As I said, we have all already sworn to abide by the code of ethics that has existed, that we swore to, that we read before we swore to it. So I really don't see a need for the resolution. And that's my comment. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Back to you, Mr.
Anyone else?
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
I think the Mayor Pro Tem is still in the chair.
Mr. Harvey.
But I don't want to put this on a personal level, but we had council members in 2023 under the same code of ethics who were on Facebook campaigning and liking nasty comments for months. And as a matter of fact, there's still a 2023 active campaign page out there, and we still have one of us up here who's commenting and supporting that active campaign page.
I believe that's called freedom of speech under the First Amendment, sir.
I just choose not to. I will be the one who says, I will choose, I will say it on the record, Heather Ward will not support any candidate in the upcoming election or any further in the town of Valdese just because you can doesn't mean you should, because there has been a lot of turmoil and chaos. I understand that. If there was anyone who was affected, it was me. My home was plastered online a couple times. My kids were afraid. That's not cool. And I know it happened to several of us, and I had no part of anything like that. So I just choose to stay out of it. I don't care if either way, whatever council decides. But I just choose, just because you can doesn't mean you should, and I will not step into our municipal elections, because it's nobody's business who I vote for.
And after the 2023 election.
Excuse me.
That was
Excuse me,
tough.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I don't think you can enter the debate now. I believe you're at the chair.
Okay.
Sorry.
Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
No, I'm sorry.
That's the hat.
I believe Robert's rules say that once the chair is relinquished to you, you have to continue until the motion is resolved, until the action is resolved.
Yeah, we've got a motion and a second. We need to move on with the motion.
Yeah, let's just call, let's call for the question.
The motion again was that we sign a resolution, and does anybody second that?
It was seconded.
Okay, and second. All those in favor of signing the resolution, raise your hand and say yes.
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 All right, those opposed, raise your hand and say no.
No.
No. Okay, motion carries. Motion failed.
Okay, may I have the chair back, sir?
Okay. Attorney Swanson, can I give the chair
Yes,
back? to
Mr.
the mayor?
Rowe will just relinquish the chair, yes. Okay, council item H, consideration of citizen communication. I believe that's yours too, Mr. Harvey.
Yes, yes. I move that in fulfillment of the commitment to full and open communication with citizens, the council will provide information in printed form along with monthly utility bills, beginning with a summary of major council actions during 2025, including the 2025 ad valorem tax rate that will be established with the budget to be adopted on June 23, 2025.
Okay, council, there's a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a second. Discussion. Mr. Harvey?
Yes, we did well, the town used to do a quarterly newsletter, printed, sent it out with the water bills, and then all of a sudden stopped it, and I think the last one was September of 2023. But we have a lot of citizens who are not on the internet, they're not on social media, and in fact, as we mentioned last Monday night, we have a lot of residents who come and pay their water bill in person, in cash, because they don't have checking accounts. And in the survey that we did this year, the Citizens Priority Survey, where we asked citizens to set priorities on communications, there was almost the same number of people who said they would like to get communications in a printed form as on electronic format. So it's not a big expense for the council, for the town. The town has to get some information out from time to time anyway. For example, coming up, we need to notify residents about the trash changeover and what to do with the old trolleys and how to get the new trolleys and so forth. So this will just formalize it a little bit. Let citizens who are not on social media, who are not watching the live streaming tonight and can't view the videos of tonight's meeting, let them receive a brief report with their water bill each month to tell them what's going on in the town.
Okay.
Can I ask approximately what the cost may be for this?
Don't trip over that big plaque.
Yeah, right. A cost, if you do like a two-sided, one-page insert, think that's around, it'd be probably $300 to $400 a month, or each time we do a newsletter. If we send it to Valdese only, inside customers. If we send it to outside customers, it'd be about $800, so.
And that's mailing it too, $300 to $400 with mail?
Well, it would be included in with the water bill, so.
Gotcha,
yeah.
okay,
There'd be an extra page in there.
okay.
Mr. Harvey, sir, was that for every month or just every quarter or?
Let's see, what did I say? I said we'll provide information in printed form along with the monthly utility bills, beginning with a summary of the major council actions during 2025. And I think everybody will recall, last year we did this, and I think the June or July utility bills, but it was right after we approved the budget, but before the tax bills went out. Along with the utility bill, everybody got a nice letter from the mayor saying, here are the things that we've accomplished this year, and by the way, your tax rate is going to be this. So we did that last year. It was well received. But, between last year and this year, I'm telling you, I visited hundreds of people in 2023, and a lot of them just, they don't know what's going on. They don't have a way of finding out what's going on.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I do appreciate the thoughts for the, for that portion of the population that doesn't have internet and computer usage. Because there are those folks out there, even though we're all up here using it, there are folks that aren't. Could we amend the motion to perhaps not do it every month, but do a 2-month newsletter? Start in July with this updated information, and then do like July, August, and then just do 2-month increments, and it would cut down on the cost, but still be relaying the important information to the citizens.
Yeah, I don't know that we, $300 or $400 a month. I don't know that we can't afford that. The other thing here is there's no news about what the council has decided or done in public, shared with the public each month, except what's published in the newspaper. And that's not necessarily everything or accurate. So I think, to have a single side of one page go out with the water bill with whatever's happened in the last month, I just don't think that's an unreasonable expense.
Anybody else? Okay, I have a motion and a second to provide and you correct me if I go astray, a monthly newsletter that will be included in our water bills and mailed out.
Will
Okay.
this need, and one more question, will this need to be added to the budget going forward?
So we have a budget for our current water bills, but it would not include inserts for a newsletter. So I would recommend that we don't change the budget at this point and then do an amendment
Later in the year.
later in the year to see where we're at.
Okay,
Whether that be, December or something like that.
we'd have to, okay.
That'll work. Anybody else? Have a motion and a second for a monthly newsletter to be mailed out to just Valdese residents with our monthly water bill.
I'm wondering if we're going to go to outside Valdese residents with our increase in July. That would go out in July.
I think that notice will go out in July.
Yeah, that will already go out. It won't be on.
So, okay, so that notice we can do for all customers and do inside and outside, but the normal, town business stuff would just be inside only.
Yeah.
So anything that affects outside customers, we can include them in that mailing, or in special circumstances like the water rates and stuff, but.
So you're saying give them the information as well in their water bill?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because that.
Same as we get in Valdese.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah, so that, because that will be affecting their water bills.
Just that one time for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, as far as the trash and recycling notice, that has already been included and sent out, but, so you should be getting those in a day or two. But that was just to inside only.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. Anybody else? Okay, I have a motion and a second. Those in favor of the monthly newsletter signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, seeing none opposed, motion carries. Okay. Item I, consideration of resolution regarding appointments to town boards, panels, and committees.
I move that we request the town attorney to review and recommend potential steps required to make Valdese residency a requirement for all council-appointed committees, panels, and boards.
Second.
And on that one, haven't done any kind of a poll, but I know Morganton, for example, the application to serve on any committee in Morganton, at the very top, it says must be a resident. And I think that's reasonable. Our residents pay taxes, vote, elect officials, and are eligible to serve on the council and serve on the planning board. So I think it should be residents who decide how to advise the council, decide how funds are spent and that kind of thing.
One question I have, the VDEC, however you want to say it, that's kind of a uniform type thing. So we would appoint, is Valdese responsible for appointing those folks to the VDEC board?
Yeah, the bylaws are in the agenda packet. Valdese is responsible, but that's not a Valdese board or panel or committee. That wouldn't be affected by this.
Okay. Well, that would have been my concern, because, you know, we have people from, serving on the VDEC, Roadhead, Drexel, Western Piedmont Community College, COG comes. Can I speak on that?
That's in the VDEC bylaws.
Yeah.
That's in the better
Mr.
box.
Yeah, Mr. McClure's on that, no.
Okay,
So do we have this to where there will be something like for people who, like business owners or people, like maybe pastors who are, in the town, would we make some type of exception for those? I know we had looked at grandfathering people in who are currently on the boards. So I was just curious how that would, in his
This
research.
is just requesting the town attorney to review and recommend some steps, that's all.
I'm for that, yeah.
there'll be exceptions, I'm sure,
Yeah.
like you're talking about. Okay, have a motion and a second. Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Okay, seeing none opposed, motion carries. Item J, appointments to boards, commissions, and committees. Sir.
Speaking of Valley's Economic Development Corporation, before you tonight, you have the recommendations for a couple different boards. And I will answer any questions that you may have, but this should be pretty standard. As the town manager, me and a couple others are automatically on some of these boards, and since I'm here now, you have to vote for me to serve in those positions. And then we also have a couple other people who the nominating committee has recommended reappointment of, and or a new term.
Okay, questions, council?
I did have just a couple of questions about that, only because I don't quite understand VDEC, and I read the bylaws, but the bylaws designates board members, and for example, our town manager is an ex officio member of the VDEC board, so we need to appoint him. And then a number of municipalities each are entitled to appoint somebody to the board. And then Valdese, because this was founded for Valdese, and when you read the charter, the purpose of it is to bring business to Valdese. That was the initial purpose. It's now been broadened a little bit, but that's still the thrust of VEDIC is to promote, stimulate, develop, and advance business prosperity and economic welfare of the town and its citizens. So, so at any rate, the bylaws say that Valdese makes 7 appointments, 7 board appointments. And we have 4 of those tonight. One's completing a term and then 3 more. And I noticed that one of them is not a resident of Valdese or Burke County, but a resident of Caldwell County. Another one is a resident of Catawba County. And those names came through on the, one more question. Those names came through as a recommendation of the VEDIC nominating committee. All the boards I've ever been on, the nominating committee recommends officers for the board or the church or whatever it is. So I'm just questioning, should the Valdese appointments include people all over the area and other counties? I don't know, I don't know I don't understand VEDIC that well. So I read the bylaws, I know what it says, but it says that Valdese should have 7 appointments, but I'm just wondering why we have to go to VEDIC and have VEDIC suggest people in other counties to serve on as Valdese representatives to the VEDIC board. You learned all about that yet?
So I'll be the first one to admit I don't know everything about VEDIC's bylaws yet. As I understand it, they have grown over the years from just focusing solely on Valdese. They have grown to be actually a state lending agency for the entire state. Their main focus is for small businesses, and so therefore, what I was instructed was they go out and look for people who could have experience in that and have certain qualifications that would lend themselves to be on the board. I don't think that they're necessarily asking us to nominate people to represent Valdese. I think they're asking us to nominate people that would represent their organization statewide. Now, the way that works and the cogs, and I don't know all that yet.
Well, the reappointments, so I guess it's probably not that important anyway.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the appointments for the VDEC board as presented.
I would like to make a motion to appoint the VEDIC appointments to the Board of Director, Todd Herms, Lily Laramie, Donna Zamora, and Kylie Guerra to the, and also Bo Weichel to the VEDIC board.
Okay. Second, please.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? If not, those in favor signify by raising your right hand saying yes.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Okay, this time I'll entertain a motion to nominate Mr. Herms, our town manager, to the BDI board.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Todd Herms to the BDI board.
Okay, second. Gary?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, council. Item K, consideration of policy guidelines for citizens and public access to community center facilities. Discussion. Mr. Herms, sorry.
So I hope I understood the directive from the last meeting correctly. We was talking about the Old Rock School and the community center, making sure that they was open on Saturdays. What I would like to do is create a pilot program that does that, and open it from 10 to 2 and do it for the months of July through October. That's 4 months, allow us to collect data, and then come back to this board with a recommendation to continue the program, adjust it, or discontinue it based on what we found over those 4 months. I'd also like to remind council that this is, dealing with part-time people, so we have to adhere to General Statute 128-21-18A and the guidelines list in the retirement system. Basically, all that means is we can't have a part-time employee work 1,000 hours. So we have to, that's the reason I would like to keep it to a short 4-month period, so we can find out whether we need to go out and hire more part-time staff before jumping into this thing both feet ahead. If I miss the mark, you tell me, and we'll go back and change it. If not, we will start the pilot program the first Saturday in July after the holiday. So I believe that's July 12th, I think.
Yeah, I think it's admirable that you came forth with a pilot program. This is an item that we postponed, we tabled it or postponed it at the May meeting, and I would like to. I don't think you need a motion for any of the management tactics you undertake, but I'd like to introduce a broad motion that incorporates what you're doing and maybe even gives you a little more flexibility. I move that the town manager review relevant financial factors, attend and visit related events, and get to know a broad cross-section of citizens to recommend a schedule of hours for the Old Rock School Cultural Center and the town's Recreation Center and Tourism Office to optimize the return on the investment and the annual operating costs of these facilities and the benefit to citizens and businesses that fund them through taxes and contributions. Again, it doesn't take anything away from what you plan to do, just broadens it a little bit and make sure that we address the tourism office as well as the Old Rock School itself.
I hear a second.
Second.
Discussion.
Again, as a mover, I just say again that this is intended to give our town manager, I mean, we hit him with about 3 things midstream on the day he arrived. So let's give him time to get to know the town, and this has no time limit on it all, no schedule at all, and he's got a pilot program he wants to try, that's fine. But let's just go on record that we'd like to have it formalized a little bit, that's all.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I just don't see a need for these policy guidelines. Our town manager has proposed a solution to the tourism issue that had been brought up. He's got a solution to monitor the tourism desk at the Rock School on Saturdays from July to October. He will obviously look at financial factors, study the results. There's no need to make a policy just to be making a policy. Our town manager, I think, is very capable of managing this situation. That's what we hired him to do. Let's let him do his job. We don't need a policy.
Anyone else?
Yeah, he didn't address the tourism office, and that's another
That's the Old Rock School.
concern.
Old Rock School, what he said.
I'm sorry, he didn't address the tourism office. The tourism office, in the past discussion we've had, the tourism office is closed a lot of times when tourists come to town, and that needs to be included. I don't know. It's just, we debated this a little bit at the preliminary meeting. I made it as broad as could be, and nobody had a comment about it until we get into a public meeting. So, if there's any more discussion, let's have it. If not, let's just vote on it.
I think he addressed the tourism, what he said tonight. He has addressed the tourism issue. He just read it out to us.
Yeah, could you explain a little again, Todd?
So as I understand it, as we operate now, We only have someone in the Old Rock School building when we have events.
Is that the tourism office?
Yeah,
Yes.
so it incorporates tourism, it incorporates, the gallery, it incorporates more things than I can tell you off the top of my head right now. But we do have a limited staff over there, so if it's rented out on a Saturday or a Sunday, if you walk in, you wouldn't see the staff member because they're most likely up in the sound booth or behind the stage or doing a number of other things that require them to do so. So this program would allow someone to be in the main office to answer tourism questions, answer art gallery questions, but to be seen as you walked in, or as you walk in the front, you would be met with a part-time employee of the town of Valdese. And then they could direct them and answer questions that anybody walked in, whether it was for art or whether it was for the event going on or anything else that they may have, was the thought behind the pilot program.
Yeah, and, I mean, even very important in what he's planning to do is that he's announced the schedule, it will be published so tourists would know. You know, they could go to the town website and find out what the schedule is when they can get into the Old Rock School. The other thing that is very important is that the art gallery up there is operated by a nonprofit Rock School Arts Foundation. And if they know that the Old Rock School is going to be open certain hours every Saturday, I haven't talked to them about it, but almost certainly they'll make sure that they have a part-time employee. They'll probably make sure that employee's there or that one of their volunteers is there to man the art gallery. So it just, it formalizes it. It's a good thing to do. On the other hand, we'll have matinees and evening performances where hundreds of people from all over the area come to special events, and the tourism office is not open. So, I don't know. At any rate, I made a proposal that I didn't think was restrictive at all. I thought it would give our town manager a little, as much time as he needs to get to know the town. And I think we ought to just vote on it, and if nobody else likes it, vote it down.
Any further discussion?
All I'm hearing from the motion is it's just basically Mr. Herm's doing what he's here
Doing his job.
to do. But if we feel, we would like, you to go to the events and get to know
Yes.
people. So I don't have a problem saying that in public, but yes, we would like for you to do that, so.
Okay.
And he has been doing that. I've
Yes,
seen
he
the
has been.
events already, so
Not that
he's
you
doing it. Hit the ground running.
Any further
Since
discussion?
more people know me than I know them.
Okay, those in favor of adopting the proposed resolution signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, those opposed signify by raising your right hand and saying no.
No.
Motion fails. Okay, thank you, council. Moving on to item L.
Can I clarify something?
Yes, sir.
But y'all still good, even though it failed, y'all still good with the pilot program, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
I think the pilot program covers everything. I don't
Okay.
need to go any further right now.
I'm not trying to get in the middle of that. I just want to make sure I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. Item L, status of ongoing or approved projects, Mr. Herms.
All right, so the public safety building update, y'all voted to enter into an agreement, contract for phase one, so we'll start that. I don't think there's any more updates there. The water plant project upgrade with Lenore and Interconnect, we're continuing to review, we are continuing reviewing recorded drawings to, find out what the existing structures and equipment is. We've continued to develop construction documents, looking at construction, structures, complete. I'm so sorry, I'm about blind and this is really small. There we go. Complete field investigations in May. We're hoping to have those back to council with a more update on what we found in the field instructions in a few months. Begin reviewing and evaluating existing backwash systems, namely the backwash pump for capacity improvements and improved backwash transport velocity and efficiency. Contracting equipment manufacturers for specs and quotes on replacement of items. Just like you will find out once we start the construction project, and this council's been through it before, things that used to take 6 weeks now take 6 years, it seems like. So depending on the equipment needed and replacement, we need to find out what the lead times are on some of those things. And then on the Recreation Center ADA, the awning has been removed. The footers for the gymnasium ramp have been poured. Work on the tennis court fence should have already started. I know the weather delayed that a little bit. The automatic door hardwares have been ordered and are expected to arrive any day if not already arrived. Our staff is doing bi-weekly Zoom meetings with the pool cover company. I believe they've already done 3 or 4 up to this point. And we are still on a timeline for construction to begin late August, if possible. And then they've already worked out a discussion on where to store the structure during the summer. I'm sorry. Too many S's there.
Okay, questions, council? Okay, manager's report, sir.
All right, so Family Friday Nights Kickoff Celebration is scheduled for this Friday, June the 6th at 7 p.m. It is the Tones at Temple Field. Concerts will be every Friday until August the 29th. Look, everyone come out and enjoy yourself. Hopefully the weather cooperates. And then B is our next regular scheduled meeting is Monday, June the 23rd in this room at 6 p.m. And that's all I have on the manager's report at this time.
Thank you. Mayor and council comments. Council?
I would like to mention, I told him I told Joey I would do this in our regular meeting, so here you go, Joey. I really thoroughly enjoyed the Granville Morrow Fun Fish Day. That was the best trout I think I have ever had in my life. I usually can't do it, but it was phenomenal. It was a great day. The kids all had a good time. Thank the rec department and all the volunteers, because I know that was a huge volunteer effort, and it was just tremendous. Seeing the community together like that's always uplifting. And that's what Valdese is about. We have a great community, and we need to build on that, because we're a great town, and seeing the community come up together like that was awesome. A lot like with Eddie Jolly and Miss Sandy Walker putting together the beach bingo event. Yes, we're saving some money, not doing the concerts, through May. But you know what? The community came together and answered a call and said, you know what? We're going to come up with something to push the merchants in our town and to provide something for the community. And I just think anything we can do to pull the community together like that is important. And I thank you guys, the Valdese Merchants Advisory Committee, for putting that together and heading that up every night that I got to be out there. Except I was there for all of them except the last one. It was a good time. And the merchants, they came out in full force to give the gift cards, certificates, gifts to the people. That was great. Heard lots of good feedback. And the other thing is, I want to say happy anniversary to myself and the most good-looking man in the town of Valdese, Michael Ward. I just had to throw that in there. So.
I would like to say the rec department, I was by there on Friday, and Special Olympics were leaving to go to the state competition. They also had in the pool a group that they were doing training for the EMT group. I would also like to call out Mark Sharp in the police department. There was some good articles this week on the chaplain program that he has established here in Valdese, and also that we have an intern who is working with our police department. And so very good articles in the paper this week on those things going on. So congratulations to that.
Anybody else?
I would like to piggyback on Councilman Lohman's comment about the chaplaincy program, mainly to say that my pastor at First United Methodist, who's been a part of that program since it started, Bill Roberts, is moving from the church and moving to Forest City, and we'll be getting a new pastor, and hopefully he will be involved in that as well. So I'd like to acknowledge Bill's efforts, because he's been here several times to do our invocation as well.
Anybody else? I'm going to echo Councilwoman Ward's comments on the fun fishing. Yeah, Joey Lindsay, he done a phenomenal job, and his heart's in.
Yes, it
His
is.
heart's in that. Our rec staff, phenomenal job. The American Legion volunteers, I appreciate you guys. And all those working together made for a great event, although I did not eat any trout.
Oh, it's good.
But
You
I
missed
missed
that.
Okay, if no one has anything else, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second,
Second.
those in favor say yes.
Yes.
So be it. Thank you, council.